Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and I have with me the Nord Piano 3 today. And this is really one awesome piano. In fact, I unpacked this a couple of days ago, and I thought I'd put out a quick little overview about it, but no, wrong. I actually spent the past 2 days losing sleep because I was so infatuated with this. I was playing this and playing around with it, and wow. Let me get into what this Nord Piano 3 is all about. First of all, the keyboard action, as with all Nords, is a FATAR action. They're using the FATAR TP40H, and it's really hard to kind of extract what they're doing with FATAR. They don't really make it public or publish what they're doing with it, but it is a TP40H. It's graded hammer action, and they're saying that this is graded hammer action technology, and they're really putting an emphasis on virtual hammer technology, but they're not really defining what that does. So, all right, taking it as face value, I can tell you that the difference between this keyboard action and the predecessor, the Nord Piano 2, is night and day. This is really, really, really cool. Unlike other manufacturers that use FATAR technology, they throw in a FATAR action, they bundle it with whatever keyboard they have, and voila, they got a product. Unlike those manufacturers, Nord actually meticulously tunes or fine tunes the action at their factory. So when I say you're getting a TP40H, if you're getting it in a Nord product, it's going to be a lot better than any other TP40H that you're getting in another piano manufacturer's action. So that said, let's go into this board altogether. Now, the Nord Piano 3 is basically a 40-pound piano, which is pretty decent for what it does. 40 pounds is not bad considering you've got an all metal case here, except for the sides, which is wood, and it's highly polished. It's got that traditional Nord red to it. All right, let's go through the I/O or ins and outs. Starting over here, you've got a series of jacks. You got a headphone jack, which is a 1/4 inch stereo jack. Next to that, you've got the left and right line output jacks. This is where you hook it up to your own studio monitors or front of the house or PAs or whatever. Then you have an 1/8 inch monitor in stereo. That's where you hook up your MP3 player or your iPod or whatever. All right, going on, it has the what they call legacy MIDI, but basically it's your 5-pin DIN MIDI in and MIDI out jacks, and you typically don't find that anymore on digital pianos unless you're spending at least over $1,000. Okay, then you've got the USB, and what this is good for is connecting this to your computer so you have MIDI over USB. This is what most keyboards are coming with today. Then you have two pedal jacks. You have one labeled sustain pedal and the other labeled volume slash control pedal. Now, the sustain pedal, you can hook up any sustain pedal to, but Nord includes their triple pedal with this board, which is really, it's really cool because that's like a $499 separate purchase if you were to buy that separately, but it comes with it. And let me show you about this pedal. This is a Nord triple pedal right here, and it has the standard 3 pedals that a regular piano would have. You've got the damper pedal over here on the right, but not just a damper, it's a half damper, so you have a lot more control. Then you have the sostenuto pedal here, and you have the una corda or the soft pedal. All right, and this is really heavy, it's not going to move, and they did a fine job implementing this pedal. All right, you can see why they're asking $499 for that, but it does come standard equipment with the Nord Piano 3, which is really, really, really cool. Okay, so moving on, we've covered all the jacks over here, and if you go over here to the other side, you've got your power over here. So power on, power off, and actually I'm going to power this off right now so that we can start out from scratch. I'm going to power this on, and you can see this display over here, which by the way is an OLED display. It's super crisp, and really it has a lot more information on it compared to that little cigarette size LED screens or LCD screens that came with its predecessor. Very, very nice. All right, so this is booted up. It's taken about 18 seconds for it to boot. And the first piano they put on there is what they call the Italian Grand, which is a Fazioli. And it is my favorite. And of course, since this is the first thing that came up when I plugged this in, I found myself playing with this nonstop. I really fell in love with this. I was in love with it before I got this piano when I had the Nord Stage 2, but awesome, awesome, awesome piano sample from Fazioli over here. So let me play you a little bit of what that sounds like, but before I do that, notice that all the LEDs are off with the exception of the piano section. And over here, reverb, I just want to throw in a little bit of reverb. Everything else, including EQ, is all flat right now. I'm not tweaking anything, okay? Very nice, right? Okay, so let me tell you something about how this keyboard is laid out. You'll notice that there's 9 sections here. There's the program section, there's the piano section, there's the sample slash synth section, there's the effects 1 section, effects 2 section, delay section, equalizer section, amp slash comp section, and reverb section. Now, this all consists of knobs and buttons. There's nothing else. There's no sliders or anything like that. Just knobs and buttons. And each one of these sections, if you're used to a more traditional keyboard layout, basically you have maybe a touchscreen or you have something else, but basically it's menu driven. And you're going to have a menu with, say, 9 options. And each one of those options that you choose is going to present you with another menu or a submenu or a submenu of a submenu. And basically what Nord is famous for is you've got it all laid out right in front of you. You don't have to go through menus. Basically everything is right here. And it's going to take a little bit of getting used to if you're more used to a traditional keyboard, but it is so well worth it. So let's go through what these 9 sections are right here. And I'm going to spend just a little bit of time on the main one here. This is the program section. This is where you choose what program or voice or sound that you want to have. And basically, this keyboard actually offers 2 different sections, piano section and synth or sample section. So those 2 sections being the only 2 sections that they offer, the piano section can get you the pianos, obviously, get you electric pianos, upright pianos, grand pianos, synth pianos, clavinet pianos, and harpsichord pianos. So that's what that's all about. The sample or synth section gets you everything else. And this is the cool thing about Nord. When you buy a Nord product, and granted, you're going to pay a little bit of money for a Nord product, this right here, despite the list price of way over $3,000, the internet price of $2,999 is what you can expect to pay for this. But the sample slash synth section, even though it has a lot of built-in stuff, you can go to the Nord website and download just about anything they've got on there. And that's the cool thing about Nord is you can continuously upgrade the sounds or the voices or patches that are on your board for free through the Nord website. Now, I get a lot of people that ask me on my YouTube channel, they send me private messages or whatever, saying, oh, I got this Casio or Korg or Roland or Yamaha or whatever, and it's got all these great samples in it, but I want to be able to add whatever it is, a Fazioli, a Steinway, a Yamaha, a Ravenscroft, whatever. Can I do that? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is no. What you got is what you got. You cannot upgrade it unless you get a sampling keyboard. This is a sampling keyboard. One of the reasons why it's kind of pricey. Chord Kronos, that's another sampling keyboard. So with sampling keyboards, you can add to it. You can always take whatever sounds that a manufacturer is offering and add it to your existing board. They even have a couple of programs here, a Nord Sound Manager and a Nord Sample Manager. But with that Sample Manager, you can actually create your own sounds and add it to this. So if you wanted to add a toilet flushing or anything else, a dog barking, you could do that. It's really cool. So that feature alone is well worth it. All right. And again, when I was playing this, that's all flat. I didn't add or take away from anything. So if I get to, let's say, the reverb section, which I already have a little bit of reverb on there anyway, now I want to add a little bit of EQ. So I'm going to turn the EQ on for the piano. And if I want a little bit more bass, I can do that. If I went a little bit more mid-range, I can do that. Not only that, I can set the frequency of where I want that mid-range to be sweepable at. And if I want a little bit more treble, I can do that too. So anyway, let's go back to flat. Sorry, I get carried away. Every time I start to play this, it is so wonderful. For me, when I sat down and played this, I had so many ideas that came through my head. I can do so much songwriting with this easily just by turning it on and playing it. And you could probably do the same thing. Every keyboard that I have has a specific purpose that I find useful for me. For Casio, it is bang for buck and the lightweight. For Korg, it is the built-in sequencer and all the top-notch sounds that they have. With Kawai, it is the piano action feel. It's the closest thing yet on the planet to a real acoustic grand piano. And when it comes to Nord, it seems I'm the most creative with Nord, which you may find you're the same way too. But basically, that's how I have the Nord. So again, like I mentioned, there's 9 different sections here. I mentioned there's a program section. I already covered the EQ section. There's a reverb section, and just reverb alone, you can see the difference between this and other manufacturers. where you've got basically three different types of reverb. You've got hall, stage, and room, but the reverb level or reverb amount, and without going through another menu, let me just demonstrate. We're on hall right now, and this is no reverb. Flat. And let me go to just 1/3. You can hear the difference right away. And at 2/3, and at full, all right, go back to 1/3. And if we're going to stage, so you can tell it makes a difference right away. Now, there are two different instrument sections, as I mentioned on here. There's piano and there's everything else, and that everything else is grouped in a category called sample or synth. And with the reverb section, as with any other section, you can turn on that effect for just the piano section, or just that sample slash synth section, or both, which is really cool. And again, all these things are laid out right in front of you. No need to go through a menu or anything like that, wasting your time. Amp and comp, and then equalizer. And I think I've mentioned the equalizer is a three-part equalizer: low, medium, and high, or treble, mid, and bass. And then you've got a sweepable frequency for mid-range. And again, you can turn that on for piano section, or the synth slash sample section, or both. And over here, delay, same kind of thing. Again, turn it on for the piano section, or the synth slash sample section, or both, or none. Then you got two sections of effects. The first effects section, you have effects that you can call up like pan, two different types, tremolo, two different types, wah, and room. Okay? And on the effects section too, you've got some different kind of effects. You've got feedback, you've got flanger, two different phasers, two different choruses, and a vibe. Okay? And on the sample synth section, you got two different instrument sections here, piano and sample synth. On the piano section, we're not going to get into too much detail here, but basically there are 6 types of piano that this thing has: electric, upright, grand, synth, clavinet, and harpsichord. Okay? And I use the grand a lot. And then you've got things like volume control and sustain control through your pedals. And on the next section, which controls the music sound for sample slash synth, you got the dynamics, you got a filter and an amp, you got the pedals, volume or sustain, and you've got the attack or decay and release, and so on and so forth. There is so much to it. I just wanted to give you an overview of this. I'll get into more detail on these 9 sections in another video. In the meantime, this is one heck of a piano, and I'm going to have a hard time giving this up when the review period is over, believe me. Just something I came up with right now, right off the top of my mind, because this thing lends itself so well to creativity. Till the next video, Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.